Hello, and welcome to the first training module for Project Wingspan Ontario. We appreciate your interest in learning about how to support monarch butterflies through native plant habitat. In this first video, we'll introduce ourselves, Pollinator Partnership Canada, and describe some of the work that we do and resources that we have available. Next, we'll introduce Project Wingspan Ontario, the goals of the program, and what you will learn as you progress through these training modules. Let's start with a land acknowledgement. Pollinator Partnership Canada acknowledges the value of Indigenous peoples' historical and ongoing advocacy, protection, and care of biodiversity and Earth systems. With staff distributed across North America, we recognize that the lands we are located on are as diverse as the Indigenous nations and communities who historically and currently inhabit them. So as we learn about seed saving and plant identification, let us center our minds and remind ourselves that plants are living things just as the pollinators are. May we work toward being in better balance with these earth systems by learning together, humbling ourselves, and working toward goodness in all that we do. Throughout the process of seed collection, we must respect ethical harvesting practices, paying attention to teachings that they may bring us. And through seed saving and sowing, may we continue to learn, humble ourselves, and work toward being better allies in relation with the land and the Indigenous peoples of the places we work in and call home. Before getting into the training, we would like to thank Environment and Climate Change Canada for funding Project Wingspan Ontario. We would also like to thank Pollinator Partnership US for laying the foundation for Project Wingspan across many state-focused projects. We've benefited from their work as a model for our work here in Ontario. City Canada has also been a useful support to promote Project Wingspan Ontario training through the City network. Okay, so first off, who are we? Pollinator Partnership Canada, or P2C, as we like to call ourselves, is a registered charity dedicated to the protection and promotion of pollinators and their ecosystems through conservation, education, and research. We've got resources for all levels and scales of users. We have eco-regional and agricultural guides, best management practices for different land managers, and a native plant finder tool for individuals looking to increase habitat. We've also got lots of different programs designed to educate people about pollinators and engage different groups with supporting pollinators. So I won't go through everything that we do, but I did want to highlight some key programs and projects and resources that we have beyond Project Wingspan Ontario. The first program that I'll mention is City Canada. This is a program that recognizes municipalities, campuses, schools, and other communities for the efforts that they make to support pollinators. Each member that joins the program makes 3 commitments. 1, to create and maintain pollinator habitat. 2, to educate and engage the community, and 3, to celebrate Pollinator Week during June. We strive to also engage members through conversation, webinars, and resources to offer ideas and best practices. We've also got the Pollinator Steward Certification Program, or PSC for short. PSC is an education-focused program that provides people with the scientific know-how to support pollinators, from introducing pollinator diversity all the way to different ways to create habitat. There's several education modules over a number of weeks, and then to receive certification, participants take action in their personal lives to support pollinators. We also have Pollinator Week. This is a week-long initiative during the 3rd week of June to celebrate pollinators, and during this week we provide resources such as a Pollinator Week toolkit, and we also host a map of Pollinator Week events. Another program we have is Bee-Friendly Gardening, where you can become a member, register your pollinator garden, and gain access to newsletters, webinars, badge challenges to encourage you to do more for pollinators, and a host of other benefits. There's Yellowknife Plan B. This is a project with the goal to identify plant-pollinator interactions in the Canadian territories and to provide education opportunities for communities. And then we also have the eco-regional planting guides. We have them for most ecoregions across Canada, And what these will do is they'll provide you with a list of plants that are native to your area and information about which types of pollinators these plants tend to attract. We also have the Find Your Roots tool, which allows you to type in your postal code and some of your plant preferences. So things like plant height, flower color, and it'll give you a list of native plants that is specific to your area and also the criteria that you've typed in. So if you're interested in learning more about any of the things that I mentioned or seeing what else we're up to, consider checking out our website at pollinatorpartnership.ca. But that's enough about P2C. Let's move on to the reason for this training, Project Wingspan Ontario. So what is Project Wingspan Ontario? Essentially, it's a conservation program that engages volunteers to collect native seed to support both large and small scale habitat enhancement projects that ultimately benefit monarch butterflies and other pollinators. To accomplish this, we've developed a list of native plants that support monarchs and other pollinators. And we've developed these training modules to teach volunteers, such as yourselves, how to identify the plants on the list, collect seed, and then use that seed to contribute to pollinator habitat yourselves. And once you've learned how to identify these plants and to collect seed, there's lots of different ways that you can contribute to habitat efforts that we're going to discuss in the final module, including planting the seed on your own property, giving seed or plants that you've grown out to people in your network or local organizations, and even sending seed to some of our partner organizations. So as I mentioned, step one, we've developed a plant list. All of the plants on our list are native to Ontario, and they all support monarchs and other pollinators. We selected these plants using a couple of criteria. One, their benefit to monarchs and other pollinators, and two, their abundance, to make sure that these plants will be reasonable to find and actually collect seed from. All of these plants provide food for pollinators in the form of nectar and pollen, and some even serve as host plants, providing a site for some species to lay eggs, and then providing food for the developing larvae once they emerge. We were also careful to include species that bloom during different times of year, so that at least some of the plants will be in bloom throughout much of the growing season. We'll review each plant on this list in Module 4 and provide you with the information that you need to be able to successfully identify them. Lastly, it's important to note that this list is not necessarily final. We remain open to changing the list to ensure that we are best supporting pollinators and native plant communities in Ontario through this project. So if there are any changes to this list in the future, you'll be able to find them on our website. Along with our plant list, we've also developed a booklet with in-depth profiles for each plant. So each booklet contains notable plant features, including bloom and seed collection windows, larval hosts, and species that look similar to the plants on our list that you might confuse them for. We won't go too deep yet into this resource, but you'll get much more information in Module 4, and we recommend that you download the booklet as a learning tool. So that was step one, the plant list. And now on to the training. So this is where you come in. It's great to have a plant list, but it's not much use if we don't have people engaged in using the plant list to collect seed to support monarchs and other pollinators. So in the coming modules, we'll provide education about monarchs, why they're important to support, how to collect seed, and then how to identify the plants on our list. So that way you can take this knowledge and apply it to collecting seed and contributing to native plant habitat in Ontario. Throughout these training modules, the goal is for you to take away knowledge that you'll be able to apply to contribute to the project and support monarchs and other pollinators. So I'm going to take a minute to explain the key learning goals that we've set for each of the 5 modules. So for this module, Module 1, there are 2 goals. 1, to understand Pollinator Partnership Canada and Project Wingspan Ontario, and 2, to review the plant list, the goals of Project Wingspan Ontario training, and what you'll learn in the coming modules. Module 2 will focus on the biology of monarchs with 2 learning goals. 1, to understand the basic biology of monarch butterflies, and 2, to describe the basics of monarch conservation in Canada. Module 3 will focus on collecting seed. The key learning goals of this module are one, to summarize the basics of collecting, processing, and storing seeds, and two, to apply ethical practices to wild seed collection. Module 4 will focus on identification of the plants on our target plant list. We've got a few learning goals for this module. One, to develop a basic understanding of plant identification based on characteristics such as inflorescence and other plant structures. Two, recognize that plants can have lookalikes and be able to distinguish key signifiers to assist in correctly identifying plants. And three, to be able to correctly identify at least 3 of the target native plants on our list. Finally, in Module 5, we'll focus on what you can do to increase native plant availability for monarchs and other pollinators once you've collected some seed. There's a few learning goals for this module. One, to give examples of different ways to use and share seed. Two, to establish your own list of people and organizations that you can distribute collected seed to. And three, to practice growing native plants from seed yourselves. At the end of each module, you'll see a summary of learning that will help to reinforce key learnings. In this module, we hope that you've learned about Pollinator Partnership Canada and Project Wingspan Ontario, including project goals, the native plant list, and the organization of our training modules for Project Wingspan Ontario. In the next module, you'll learn about monarch butterflies in Canada, including their biology, threats that they face, their status, and plans for monarch conservation. Now, before you move on to Module 2, it's quiz time. So you'll see on our website that we offer a pre-training quiz, which will give us a baseline of the knowledge that you have about monarchs, seed collection, and plant ID coming into this training. After you complete all 5 of the modules, there's also a post-training quiz that will allow us to see how much you've learned across these modules. So this is going to help you to solidify the knowledge that you're taking away from this training, and it'll give us some really helpful feedback on your learning experience. Okay, so that's it for Module 1. Please take the pre-training quiz, and then we'll see you again for the next module.